Men that master the art are both brave and extraordinarily talented. Tonight, our cameras take you trackside to one of Australia's most progressive speedway venues, Mike Hatcher Park at Labrador on Queensland's Gold Coast. The event is the fourth and final Gold Coast Bulletin State of Origin Challenge. New South Wales and Queensland doing battle for domestic speedway supremacy. In the opening match at Gosford Speedway, New South Wales proved too strong. Then at the Brisbane Exhibition Ground, the Queenslanders emerged victorious. In the last meeting, both sides fought out a nail-biting draw. The 320-metre Mike Hatcher Park venue is guaranteed to provide the traction and the action as this thrilling interstate series reaches a fascinating conclusion.
Yes, indeed. Great to have your company on Checkered Flag. Welcome to the Mike Hatcher Park Speedway on Queensland's glorious Gold Coast for the first time. Terrific of you to join us wherever you might be watching. Tonight should be a very special speedway event. The last time these two sides met, it was a thrilling 48-all draw, and it all hinges on tonight's action. With me is the New South Wales captain, Mick Poole. A little bit of pressure here tonight.
Yeah, there is, Dave. You know, we drew last time we come up here, and the time before we come, we got hammered. So things are getting better and better and better every meeting we come up here. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we might pull off a win.
You've got a pretty good team.
Yeah, we've got a lot of young guys that are going really good, you know, and we got me and Stephen in there with a little bit of experience. And yeah, so if the young guys can sort of pull their weight, I'm sure, you know, we hopefully come out with a win.
This racetrack at Mike Hatcher Park is gaining a real reputation as being a terrific little speedway.
Yeah, this is the third time I've been here, and the other two times the track's been brilliant. I'd rate it as one of the best tracks in Australia, and it's only a small track, but it races like a fast track, and it's plenty of room and very safe for the riders, so you can have a go.
Good luck tonight. You're tipping a Blues victory, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Mick Poole, New South Wales skipper for tonight, vastly experienced former international rider, and now his major adversary for tonight's action, Tony Rose, the Queensland captain. A 48-all draw last time. You'll be fired up for a big one.
Yeah, that's right, David. Last time we were a few points behind with a few heats to go, and it finished up a draw, so we're pretty happy. But this time we've got a young team. I think they're all pretty keen, so with a bit of luck we can pull off a win.
You're part of the Team Titman operation, which is certainly one of the most professional outfits in the sport.
Yes, that's correct. We've put a lot of time, money, effort into the team, and as anyone that's been to the Speedway can see that it is like a very professional team. John needs to take a lot of the credit for it, but myself and Scott, Paul, he's not here, but with a bit of luck we should be able to uphold the flag and have a good meeting.
Do you see any weaknesses in the New South Wales side?
Well, no, not really. The New South Wales team is always pretty strong. Like I said, we've got a young team. I hope them young guys are keen, and I think we can have a good match.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Tony Rose and Mick Poole, you've heard from the two captains. They'll certainly play a major role here tonight in the outcome of this final and deciding State of Origin clash between the two states, New South Wales and Queensland. It's appropriate now we take a look at the teams and the formats for tonight's racing.
Starting with the New South Wales team, the captain is Mick Poole. He'll be joined by Platt, Stephen Davies, Shane Haggarty, Szauter, Tony Primmer and Fernance. Their manager is the great Jim Airy. Now let's take a look at the Queenslanders. They're led by Tony Rose. He's supported by Darren Groves, Brent Collyer, Dave Watts, Scott Smith, Clinton Leitch, Alan Rivett, and their manager, the equally great Phil CRUMP. The event will be staged over 16 by 4-lap heats. Each race will comprise 4 riders, 2 from each state. The Queensland riders will wear the red and blue helmet colours, whilst New South Wales will display white and yellow. And points will be allocated on a 3-2-1 basis for first, second and third. Now it's the second heat for the sidecars, another 3-lap journey. Levy and Strachan will start on the inside wearing red, then Cook and Squires in blue, McVie and McVie, the McVie brothers wearing white, and on the outside is Hagel and Walsh in yellow. Set for a start. Plenty of horsepower being generated by these sidecars in the late 90s. Wonderful category, and they do feature strongly on the program here at Mike Hatcher Park. In fact, the Indy Sidecar Cup, the next meeting here to be held on October 17. When they said go on this occasion, best to begin was McVie, swooping across from position number 2. Here comes Levy on the Tucker time entry, and Levy races through on the inside line, then drifts high. McVie comes back on the inside, and the two of them race side by side through turns 1 and 2 for the first time round. But Levy has found the necessary racing line and the horsepower, and look at the lead as he now stretches, with Strachan hanging on for dear life on the side of the machine. But But Levy, using a fairly wide line as he heads back onto the main straight, approaching the last racing lap, is a fairly comfortable leader. In second spot on the circuit is McVie and McVie. Don't be confused by that. Race leader is Reed Levy. He's only got about a quarter of a lap now to negotiate. The checkered flag is poisoned. He certainly greets it comfortably with his passenger Strachan. Second of the checker was McVie and McVie, followed by Cook and Squires in a race time of 46.78 seconds. Let's take a look at the first lap replay for you. McVie best to begin, wearing the white helmet colour. Levy also very quickly out of the starting tapes. He sees a gap present on the inside, quickly accelerates. A little bit of barging going on, legal barging I might add. As a result of the speed he had, he tends to drift up high on the circuit. Subsequently, McVie has the opportunity to race back up on the inside, but Levy found the maximum traction sitting about mid-track, raced away from there and was never headed. Now our third event on today's program, a 3-lap journey for the A-grade solos. This is their first heat. Wiseman will ride in red on the right-hand side of your screen from position number 1. Mark Murphy from New South Wales will ride in blue. Daniel Mason in white from position 3. And on the extreme left-hand side of your screen, Todd Groves wearing yellow black. A 3-lap journey set for a start. The tapes now fly. Let's see how it pans out. First to begin was the New South Welshman Mark Murphy. Very quickly away also was Daniel Mason. He settles down in second spot, separated by about 2 metres first and second. Now swooping around the outside here is Dean Wiseman wearing the red helmet colour. Gee, Wiseman and also Todd Groves racing very close together. On the outside we can see trying very hard Dean Wiseman, but it would seem though that Todd Groves has got the best of that battle. Note the sparks coming from beneath the left leg of that rider. He has a nail loose in his steel shoe or something of that nature. They're inside the last racing lap now, and there's no doubting the man out in front, Daniel Mason, who got to the front very quickly. No, rather it's Mark Murphy, in fact. Murphy is going to come off turn 4 and take the checkered flag comfortably. Second was Wiseman, and third across the line was Todd Groves in a time of 44.55 seconds. Mark Murphy far too good. Here's an action replay of the battle for second and third. Todd Groves on the inside. Watch the sparks fly. And a great shot there of the man in third spot discarding a tear-off as he was being filled in, Dean Wiseman. Groves about to surrender second spot to the man riding in red, Dean Wiseman. A nice slingshot move up the inside. Saw him secure that place, and that's about the way they stayed on the racetrack. You're watching the final State of Origin decider in this series between New South Wales and Queensland. Support races you've seen. Now we advance to the first of 16 heats in this State of Origin series, and a great field-to-do battle here in the first qualifying heat for them. Tony Rose will ride in red out of position number 2. Mick Poole from New South Wales, the captain, on the inside rides in white. Then we have Platt in yellow, and on the extreme outside in blue is Darren Groves as we go racing. Is it the New South Welshman? No, it's not. It's the Queensland captain, Tony Rose, who bounces away on settling down. These are 4-lap races. Mick Poole in second. So the respective state captains going hard at it here in the first heat. Tony Rose, the Queenslander, though, certainly has the best of it down the back straight. You'll notice the back straight at this circuit has a very definite run downhill. Pretty scary stuff as they approach turns 3 and 4. But Tony Rose doing a fabulous job. Very neat and tidy around this racetrack, as you'd expect him to be. I guess you've got to call it his home track these days. He's really managed to shake off the challenge of Mick Poole fairly quickly and very comprehensively. Tony Rose on the Team Titman entry is going to lead them inside the last racing lap. Mick Poole not doing anything crazy. He's just sitting back there in second spot, riding comfortably. And forget about the others at this point in time. 3 points coming up for Queensland, and for Tony Rose, he takes it. Mick Poole from New South Wales second, scoring 2 points for that side. And third of the checkered flag was Platt, also getting 1 point. 3 points all at the completion of the first heat. Let's have a look at the replay now. It was all Tony Rose from the outset. Mick Poole was sticking with him for the first half lap or so. Rose had the better racing line. Poole possibly lacking a little bit of aggression in that first half lap. Races back quickly at him there, but unfortunately for Poole, couldn't bridge the gap between he and the race leader Tony Rose. The Queensland captain firing the warning shot from the outset of proceedings tonight. So as we now approach heat number 2 of this series, New South Wales and Queensland both scoring 3 points in the opening ride. Leitch will ride in red here. Alan Rivett from Queensland rides in blue. The Queenslanders Leitch and Rivett. Tony Primmer and Fernance to represent New South Wales. Primmer in white, Fernance in yellow. That's the way they're going to start. Another quality quartet set for battle, 4-lap journey, and points very valuable, as you can appreciate. That's another story for another time. So subsequently, Queensland lose a rider. That leaves Rivett, the lone Queensland representative here, riding in the blue helmet. On the inside of him is Primmer. On the outside is Fernance, the two New South Welshmen. Well, Primmer was the best to begin, the New South Wales rider, a vastly experienced campaigner, did spend some time overseas, and since then, I guess the last 5 years or so, has been largely basing his racing activities in New South Wales and certainly along the east coast of Australia. He leads Primmer comfortably rather, the man in second spot, Alan Rivett, and third is Fernance, a fair way back in the field at the moment. In fact, Fernance really battling to stay in touch with him on this occasion. Tony Primmer is really starting to streak away now from his nearest rival, Alan Rivett, the Queenslander. So New South Wales running first and third, looking at 4 points here to the maximum that Queensland can score in this race, which is 2, and Tony Primmer is now inside the last racing lap, is going to take this one very comfortably. A mile back now in second is the Queenslander Alan Rivett, and even further back is Fernance in third as Primmer blasts across the start-finish line. Checkered flag flies for him, 3 points to the New South Wales rider. Then further back in second, Rivett coming up with 2 points for Queensland and 1 to Fernance. So the point score at the completion of that second heat sees New South Wales leading Queensland by 7-5. Now it's heat number 3. Brett Collyer for Queensland rides in red. Dave Watt, his fellow Queenslander, in blue. New South Wales represented by Stephen Davies wearing white and Shane Haggarty in yellow. Davies on the inside, watch him, the extreme right-hand side of your screen, a quality rider, former seasoned international, multi-times winner of the New South Wales Championship, and Davies got a rocket of a start, heads down the back straight, a clear-cut leader. That's Brett Collyer running second now for the Queensland side. Running third is Dave Watt. So despite the fact Queensland haven't managed to get up front on this occasion, they're going to pick up 3 points if they can maintain their second and third on the racetrack, as indeed will Stephen Davies pick up 3 points if he can maintain his position at the front of the pack. Well, the Queenslanders are riding very intelligently here. Terrific team racing. They're side by side and stopping any opportunity that New South Wales may have to come through and pinch a minor placing. And that rider, Shane Haggarty for New South Wales, is tailed off a mile back at the moment and poses no threat to the commanding position Queensland has in second and third. Look at Stephen Davies on the left-hand side of your screen. The New South Wales rider is absolutely blitzing them here. He's got one corner to negotiate. Haggarty, by the way, has pulled over on the infield. Meantime, Davies takes the win. He picks up 3 points in a racing time of 58.06 seconds. 2 to Queensland's Brent Collyer, 1 to Dave Watt. We just saw Haggarty on the infield. Bad luck for him. But it was all Stephen Davies, far too good. And that means the tally maintains the lead for New South Wales. It's 10-8 in favour of them over the Queensland side after 3 heats. A replay of the first lap action. All Stephen Davies. Brent Collyer doing a good job battling away with Dave Watt. Haggarty was never on the pace from the time they said go in that race. When the tapes flew, it was all Stephen Davies wearing the white helmet colour. That's the completion of the third heat for you, 10-8 in favour of the New South Wales side. And now it's heat number 4 in this State of Origin series, the Gold Coast Bulletin sponsored event here at Mike Hatcher Park Speedway at Labrador on the Gold Coast. These events, and in fact this venue, promoted by the Gold Coast Motorcycle and Sporting Club. What a job they've done to really bring this venue up to such a high standard over the past few years. Racing now in heat number 4, Queensland's Scott Smith, wearing the red helmet colour, is your leader. Now the New South Wales rider, Szauter, in the white helmet colour, races by on the outside. Bold move by the New South Welshman, and he takes the race lead in a quite outstanding outside passing manoeuvre. Relegates Scott Smith back to second on the circuit. Third, by the way, is Alan Rivett, wearing the blue helmet colour for the Queensland side. The other rider in this for New South Wales is Fernance in yellow, and he's a mile back at the moment. Well, an outstanding passing manoeuvre there by Szauter, generally regarded as one of the most improved riders on the east coast of Australia, and is desperate to get himself across to Europe next year to embark on a full-time international career. Mick Poole, the New South Wales captain, was telling me before the meeting he'd be doing everything he could to help Szauter get over to England, as we now see Scott Smith charging back at him. This is not all over bar the shouting just yet. Szauter's fairly worried about Smith. He has a look over the left shoulder, but the New South Welshman gets there. He takes the 3 points. Second and 2 points to Queensland's Scott Smith, and 1 point to Alan Rivett. Well, Queensland are certainly hanging in there. 3 points to New South Wales in that heat, 3 to Queensland. There's the tally for you at the completion of 4 heats. It's New South Wales leading by 13 to Queensland's 11. Scott Smith got the start on the replay. Watch Chris Szauter storming back around the outside and was able to take the lead right there at the end of the main straight on this 320-metre Mike Hatcher Park Speedway, or Mike Hatcher Speedway Park venue at the Gold Coast. Great ride by Szauter, managing to assert his superiority certainly in that heat. But Scott Smith, a diminutive little rider, very courageous. As we take a break from the Gold Coast, you're watching Checkered Flag on Sports Australia. Great to have your company. Welcome back to Mike Hatcher Park Speedway on Queensland as we now advance to heat number 4. Monk and Williams will ride in the red helmet colour on the extreme right-hand side of your screen. Levy and Strachan in blue beside them. Next combination is Martin and Hill wearing white, and on the outside is McVie and McVie, a very capable sidecar pairing up here in Queensland. They started on the outside. Best to begin, though, was Martin and Hill wearing the white helmet colour. Outstanding start from White out on the track. Let's see if Levy, who really came up with a barnstorming ride in his first heat tonight to claim victory, can get back on equal terms with them. Unfortunately, it wouldn't seem as though that is the case here. Our leader is going to be very hard to catch, Martin, who's also scored a good victory here earlier tonight. So the Gold Coast Motorcycle Wreckers entry is a long, long way in front. The yellow flag on display. There's one lap of this 320-metre Mike Hatcher Speedway venue to run at the Gold Coast, and he's going to win this one very comfortably, Martin, inside the last couple of corners. Got a little crossed up there on the exit to turn number 4, but takes it. Checkered flag on display. Second was Levy, and third on that occasion was McVie and McVie in a time of 46.27 seconds. 46.27 seconds for that 3-lap journey. Now we return to the solo action. 500cc bikes with no brakes, and we welcome back the A-grade solos. Bolchods will ride in red here. Darren Wade in blue. John White in white, ironically. And Daniel Mason will ride in yellow. Mason starting on the extreme outside. This also a 3-lap journey prior to us returning to the sidecar, or state of origin action rather. And on this occasion, our race leader clearing out of the gate was Bolchods, riding in red. Started from position number 1. A perfect start for him. Here comes the challengers now, including Darren Wade wearing blue, and Wade saw a gap open up on the inside, so he stuck the machine down on the low line, and these two running side by side as they head down the hill. That is the back straight here at Mike Hatcher Park, and look at them now. They're fairly wide apart on the circuit. We see here, obviously, Bolchods on the outside being headed just marginally by Darren Wade. Oh, Bolchods makes a major mistake. Subsequently, Wade races through to take the lead and is going to career away with this, quite frankly. Bolchods seems to have a fairly serious problem and is going to struggle to maintain second spot on this occasion as we see Wade take the victory. Second was Bolchods, who just lasted for second spot. Daniel Mason third, and Darren Wade in a time of 46.48. So now the State of Origin series resumes. This is heat number 5 for them. 2 Queenslanders, 2 New South Welshmen, 3-2-1. That's how the points are allocated based on first, second and third, in case you missed our explanation at the start of today's program. Tony Rose will ride in red, the Queensland captain. He's supported by Darren Groves in blue. Stephen Davies for New South Wales on the extreme right-hand side of your screen rides in white. And Shane Haggarty, starting out of gate number 3, rides in yellow. Once again, Stephen Davies, as was the case in his ride in the first round tonight, got a magnificent start. He's going to have some pressure here because Tony Rose, who's very much in form and inspired via being the Queensland captains in second spot, he'll try hard right down to the checkered flag. But Stephen Davies really reflecting the enormous experience that this man has enjoyed in this sport over a career now spanning, well, more than a decade. Stephen Davies proving very hard to catch now on the plain white motorcycle. Tony Rose tucked away in second spot doing his best. And third and best of the rest is Shane Haggarty for New South Welshman, the New South Wales rider. So there could be 4 points coming up here for New South Wales. 3 points to Davies if he maintains the race leader. Tony Rose will pick up 2 for Queensland. Waiting to see now if Haggarty is still in third. Indeed, he's not. Darren Groves has moved up 1 more spot. And Darren Groves, you'll probably find, is going to pick up the 1 point. Davies across the line, takes the 3. Tony Rose home in second. And indeed, it was the man in blue, Darren Groves, getting up to take the 1 point right on the line. So 3 to New South Wales, 3 to Queensland. And at the completion of the 5th heat, it's 16-14 in favour of New South Wales. Things are very, very tight here. Replay of the action with Stephen Davies taking a comfortable victory in 58.32 seconds for him. The Novocastrian Express. What a rider he's been over a long, long career. Sustained an awful break of the pelvis, a horrific smash at the Brisbane Exhibition Ground in the 1992 Australian Championship. Has shown plenty of ticker to come back bigger and better than ever. Tony Rose was working away at the inside of him, but the opportunity for the Queensland captain was not forthcoming. Davies takes a comfortable victory in heat number 5 for the State of Origin Series. Now in heat number 6, another very good field of riders. Scott Smith will represent Queensland, riding the red helmet colour, or riding in the red helmet colour rather. Clinton Leitch will ride in blue, Mick Poole in white, and Platt in yellow on the outside. Set for a start in heat number 6. Keep your eyes on Scott Smith on the extreme right-hand side of your screen. Racing now, the tapes fly. Smith the best to begin. Oh, horrible accident on turns 1 and 2. Leitch and Platt have gone down in a huge crash. Both riders head first into the retaining wall here, the outside fence at the Mike Hatcher Speedway Park venue. And a fair bit of concern over these two riders. They both lay motionless on the circuit. We'll take a look at the replay there for you. It looked to me as though Leitch dropped the bike. Platt had no racing room. Keep your eyes on Leitch, second from the extreme left, and Platt on the outside. Smith the best to begin. Poole flicked the tail out, trying to find some drive. Leitch dropped it, and Platt had absolutely nowhere to go. And Platt has, in fact, been knocked by the bike as well as the fence. Let's have another look at it in super slow-mo. Leitch in the centre. Down he goes. Platt nowhere to go. Ooh, over the top of the Queenslander. The bike careers into the fence. Platt was on his way to the fence. The bike bounces off and smacks the New South Welshman right across the body. Well, that is as bad a crash as you're going to see in Speedway motorcycling. And both riders are still receiving attention. We've been received word that they're okay. In fact, great to see. There's young Clinton Leitch up and about, and he appears to be angry with himself. I guess he knows the facts, and he did drop the bike really of his own accord. I know there was not a lot of racing room. First corner incident. The referee has deemed none of them responsible as such, and all 4 are invited to participate in the rerun. There's Platt, the New South Wales rider. A little sick, sore and sorry. So now we come to the restart. There's Leitch. Now that is courage with a capital C. He's back on the bike and determined to take his place in the rerun of this event. Unfortunately, Platt not fit enough though. Subsequently, Tony Primmer for New South Wales comes into his spot and rides in yellow on the extreme outside. Well, can Scott Smith do it again, the Queenslander? No, he's lost the lead to his fellow Queenslander, Clinton Leitch. Well, what a performance from him. He's just been knocked senseless, gets back on the bike, and he's leading the rerun in heat number 6. Look at him go, the Queensland charger, up the main straight. Mick Poole runs in second for New South Wales. Further back in third is Tony Primmer, also for New South Wales. And at the back of the pack this time round is Scott Smith. Unbelievable, considering the way he started the first run. Here's Leitch, the leader. Mick Poole, the New South Wales veteran, now switches lanes and looks for an outside slingshot. Beautiful speedway, Mick Poole. A magnificent outside pass. He went by Leitch so quickly that Clinton almost caught pneumonia with the breeze. Now Mick Poole does run wide on the head up the main straight. Subsequently, Leitch came back at him, but Mick Poole gets his head down over the top of the handlebars. That was a magnificent outside manoeuvre, and the New South Wales captain, Mick Poole, leading by example, takes the 3-point for the Blues. Second was Clinton Leitch. What a ride by him. Courage is one word you could use to describe. He picks up 2 points. And third of the checkered flag, picking up 1 point, was Tony Primmer for New South Wales. 58.27 the racing time. Let's have a look at the replay as Mick Poole, who was in fact last on settling down as they went through the first couple of corners. Look at the guts and determination from this man out in front. You just saw the nature of the crash he was involved in. He's out leading them and setting a scorching pace. Mick Poole now starts to steady, assesses the situation. There's plenty of dirt up high on this circuit, which more than provides adequate traction for those riders brave enough and talented enough to attempt the outside pass. Leitch is covering his tracks, riding very well, making no mistake whatsoever. He makes one in a second though. He gets a little offline just there, but Mick Poole was well and truly past him by then. Poole, the race winner, 3 points for New South Wales. That was the completion of heat number 6 for you. The score in the State of Origin series decider, New South Wales 20, leading Queensland 16. And look at Leitch, still not giving up, as he attempts to chase the New South Wales captain, who by this time had said, "See you later, Clinton," and was on his way to picking up 3 points. Now it's heat number 7 in the Gold Coast Bulletin Interstate Solo Challenge here on Queensland's Gold Coast at the Mike Hatcher Speedway Park venue. Now we see Brent Collyer and Dave Watt representing Queensland in red and blue respectively. Chris Szauter and Tony Primmer to do the honours for New South Wales. Szauter wearing the white helmet colour, pardon me, and Tony Primmer will ride it in the yellow helmet colour. Heat number 7, another 4-lap journey. Points all important, getting very tight. 20 points to 16 in favour of New South Wales as they approach this 7th heat. Great start by Dave Watt, the Queenslander, who blasts by in the centre. Oh, Brent Collyer, his compatriot, getting out of shape there. Picked up a rut, I think you'll find. Well, caught his left foot in one anyway. It looked very spectacular. He's done a miracle job to stay on the bike as Tony Primmer came racing through, trying to consolidate second on the circuit, but Brent Collyer is fired up, possibly a little angry at himself for making that small mistake. Consolidates second spot. Great job, Brent Collyer, this rider from Brisbane, who is really starting to mature and improve on a week-by-week basis. Race leader is Dave Watt. He's not going to be headed in this one as he sees the yellow flag on display this time round, signifying 1 lap to run of the 320-metre Mike Hatcher Speedway Park venue on the Gold Coast. Big ride by Dave Watt in the blue helmet colour. You're watching the style of him now. Out of turn number 4 for the final time. He takes the win and the 3 points. That is a 5-point victory for the Queensland side, with Brent Collyer picking up the 2. And third of the check was Tony Primmer, a 5-1 for Queensland. Big result in the race time of 58.27. As you watch the replay, let's check the progress score for you at the completion of that 7th heat. It's 21-all, New South Wales and Queensland. Great result by the Banana Benders, picking up 5 points. As we watch the replay action with Dave Watt, Collyer was almost headed by Tony Primmer, but Collyer really showing some intestinal fortitude, kept his throttle wide open, race bar on the outside, and that is exactly what Queensland needed to bring them back into this match. They've been trailing since the outset of proceedings tonight. It's now 21-all as we head for a thrilling finale in this State of Origin series. Now it's heat number 8 of 16 to decide this championship for 1998. In this race, we have Darren Groves and Alan Rivett representing Queensland in red and blue. I refer to helmet colours to the uninitiated. Platt will ride in white for New South Wales. Fernance, who's had a shocker, it's got to be said, will ride in yellow in this particular heat from the extreme outside. And wait for the starting tapes. Away they go now. Who will it be as they charge towards the first corner? A beautiful start by the New South Wales rider, Platt, who was also with Leitch involved in that horrific crash a couple of races ago. And like Leitch, Platt has bounced out to the lead. Not for long, though, on this occasion, as we see Alan Rivett, the Queenslander, very fired up. He races through. And in bad news for New South Wales, Darren Groves, the second Queensland rider, has given Platt the go-by. So once again, Queensland looking down the barrel of a 5-1 here. Great riding by them. They've really come back into this in a big way, the Queensland side. Your race leader wearing the blue helmet colour is Alan Rivett. That is Groves in second, wearing the red helmet. He's in second place, doing a terrific job. 5-1 coming up here again for the Queenslanders, which is going to put New South Wales in a spot of bother at the end of the second round of heats in this match. Race leader heading down the back straight for the final time is Alan Rivett. Now Groves in second, starting to close the gap fairly appreciably inside the last couple of corners. Our leader's got time for a look over the shoulder. Rivett, he takes the win and 3 points. Second points to his fellow Queenslander Darren Groves, picking up 2 points. That's 5 for them. 1 to Fernance from New South Wales in a time of 59.81. And there is the progress score for you. Queensland have hit the front, leading by 26 to 22. A 4-point margin as you watch the action here at Mike Hatcher Speedway Park. You're seeing it exclusively on Optus Vision Sports Australia channel. And we've got a lot more Speedway bike action for you in the next. Along now to another event for the A-grade solos. This is their 8th heat. You're watching the highlights of this race meeting tonight. And we see Daniel Mason riding in red, Sam Taylor in blue, Jay Bolchos in white, and John White wearing yellow. Another 3-lap race here. Good charge, good battle up front as we see crossing from the outside Sam Taylor. Well turned out young team, well turned out young rider, professional looking team. And he finds himself here leading by about 1 metre to our man in second spot, which is Daniel Mason. as they head down the back straight. And prepare to complete the second lap of this particular event, where Sam Taylor is going to lead them up the main straight. He sees the yellow flag on display. There's one lap of the Labrador venue to run. He is finding himself under some pressure, though, because Mason is trying very hard on the outside. Now he winds it up for an outside pass. They race towards the checkered flag, almost locked together. But Sam Taylor gets there, defeats Mason in a race time of 46.32. Welcome back to Checkered Flag on Sports Australia. Nice of you to join us wherever you might be watching today's program. And our show coming to you from the Mike Hatcher Speedway Park at Labrador on Queensland's glorious Gold Coast. This is the final deciding match in the State of Origin Series for 1998 between New South Wales and Queensland. Now it's heat number 9. Great field. Scott Smith representing Queensland along with Rivett. Rivett wears blue, Smith wears red, Davies in white and Haggarty in yellow for New South Wales. Waiting now for the starter to get everything under control. He walks away. The tapes now fly. Stephen Davies is yet to be beaten here tonight. Riding in the white helmet colour is he, the New South Wales rider, vastly experienced, and really he's gating like lightning tonight, looking very slick on the bike. And New South Wales may pick up 3 points here, and they desperately need it, because as we approach this 9th heat, they trail 26-22 on the progressive point score. Man in second spot is Rivett, and he's doing a fabulous job tonight, being fairly consistent. And Scott Smith, something of a surprise. He's a little further back in the field, not for long though. The little Queenslander moves up on the inside, gives his teammate the go-by. So now the race order is Stephen Davies, Scott Smith, and Rivett is in third. And poor old Shane Haggarty really not lending Stephen Davies the most remote support on this occasion. He's a mile back in fourth and is not going to contribute, not in terms of points anyway. Stephen Davies, the leader, looking at 3 points for this victory. He leads the next best man, Scott Smith, by about 10 metres. Out of turn number 4, the New South Welshman takes it. Scott Smith was coming home very quickly. He got 2 points in second, and third was Rivett, picking up a valuable 1 point, meaning 3 points apiece as a result in that heat number 9. The race time was 58.04. That means that Queensland lead 29-25. Replay for you. Stephen Davies scooted straight away from them. When the tapes flew, he was going forward and was far too good from the very moment those tapes flew towards the sky. Rivett was doing a very good job in second here, but the determination of Scott Smith, gee, I like this rider, a real racer's racer. If he has a bad start, you can never write him off. He comes back and comes back. Now it's heat number 10. Brett Collyer from Queensland in red, Dave Watt in blue, Mick Poole in white from New South Wales, Lee Fernance in yellow on the outside. And poor old Lee's had an unhappy night. So Queensland represented here by Collyer in red, Dave Watt in blue, Mick Poole in white represents New South Wales, and Lee Fernance in yellow also representing New South Wales on the extreme outside or left-hand side of your screen. Heat 10 of 16. New South Wales have got it all to do in this State of Origin decider. At the moment, Queensland getting well on top. Racing now with Mick Poole, the New South Wales captain, riding very quickly towards the front. The Queenslanders run second and third on the circuit at this point in time anyway. Dave Watt is the man in second spot. Brett Collyer is third. Here comes Collyer up on the inside. Well, this is good team riding. Mick Poole will pick up the 3 points if he stays where he is, but Queensland will also pick up 3 points by virtue of finishing second and third. There goes Lee Fernance up on the inside. He wants to do something about the stranglehold that Queensland are seemingly having on this State of Origin match now. Fernance moved up on the inside. That will turn things around just slightly. New South Wales may pick up 4 points here if he's able to stay there. Mick Poole's your leader inside the last racing lap now. He's got 320 metres to run. Brett Collyer for Queensland runs second. Lee Fernance for New South Wales runs third. He's going to pick up 1 point. This is a good result for the Blues. 4 points to them, 2 to Queensland. Poole takes it. Collyer home in second for the Queensland side. Fernance in third. We'll check the race time for you. It was 57.94 seconds, 57.94. And now at the completion of 10 heats, it's a little tighter. Queensland 31, New South Wales 29. It's a couple of points in it. Now it's heat number 11. Tony Rose for Queensland rides in red. Darren Groves for Queensland rides in blue. New South Wales representatives here. Chris Szauter in white and Tony Primmer in yellow. A pretty close race in the making here. evenly matched riders as we go racing. It was Tony Primmer over on the inside. He got the best start. Here comes Chris Szauter, his fellow New South Welshman in the white helmet colour. He runs third, but look at this man on the outside. It is Tony Rose, the Queensland captain, in the red helmet colour. He and Tony Primmer running side by side. They lean over one another. They touch elbows. They exchange paint there almost as we see Tony Rose, the Queensland skipper, take the race lead, and in so doing set his sights for his side on 3 valuable points. Primmer's in second spot, 2 points looking at him, and then further back in third is Chris Szauter. So we're looking now towards a 3-point tally, a 3-point haul for both states in this particular race. It's Tony Rose facing the judge with 1 to go, 320 metres or 4 left-hand turns. Tony Rose is certainly not going to be headed in this one. Tony Primmer a long way back in second, but that'll do the New South Wales side. Another 3 points coming up for them. Likewise, Queensland. Rose takes it in heat number 11, 58.48 seconds the time. Well done to Rose. Good ride. Had to come from behind, and you can't do any more than that. As we check the replay, you can clearly see when the tapes flew, Tony Primmer was the best to begin, but he got a little crossed up there, then hit a rut, didn't really help him that much. Szauter was racing down on the inside, but look at this man, Rose, the Queensland skipper, the wily old veteran. I say that affectionately. He sets his sights on an outside charge and rode the motorcycle perfectly. If you may have just joined us, these are 500cc bikes with no brakes, and Rose quite brilliant on that occasion, taking the victory and 3 points to Queensland. After heat number 11, they're still separated by just 2 points. Queensland 34, leading New South Wales 32. Now advancing to heat number 12, Brent Collyer returns to action here, riding in red from the inside or right-hand side of your screen. Stephen Davies in white beside him for New South Wales. Rivett in blue for Queensland out of position number 3, and Fernance riding in yellow from position number 4. Who will it be? It's Stephen Davies again, the Novocastrian Express. He takes the race lead. 3 points, that's what he's looking for here. Brent Collyer looking to see his teammate. He's found him, and they run second and third on the circuit, the Queenslanders. I refer, of course, to Brent Collyer, and now Fernance has moved up into third. I was about to say Rivett's running third. That is not the case anymore, as we see Fernance desperately lunging through and trying to come up with 1 point. This could be a 4-2 result for the New South Wales side. They're about half race distance now. Your leader is Stephen Davies. He has been in white-hot form tonight. A maximum staring the Novocastrian in the face. Oh, Fernance has gone down midway through turns 3 and 4. Well, he did that all on his own. He was clinging desperately to third place and subsequently 1 point. The red flag's out, the red light's on. That race will be declared the way they are racing on the circuit, which means Stephen Davies is going to pick up 3. Collyer will pick up 2. Rivett has been awarded 1 point, and rightly so, because this man you're about to see in slow-mo, Fernance, well, what can you say? Probably the less said, the better, from his point of view. No time taken on that race that obviously was declared. So at the completion of the third round of heats, it's still Queensland 37, leading New South Wales 35. Things very tight here. You couldn't have it any closer, really, as we head into the last round of 4 heats. Heat 13 of 16. Tony Rose rides in red, Scott Smith in blue, Mick Poole in white, Szauter in yellow. The latter, the New South Wales riders, Poole and Szauter on the outside. Racing now, tapes fly. Queensland looking to consolidate their position at the top of the points chart. Szauter, good start by him, but a better one by the Queensland captain, Tony Rose. He races by on the outside, and look at Mick Poole now. Mr. Excitement, winding it up on the outside, but unfortunately for him, he couldn't make any further progress. Chris Szauter is settling down in second for the New South Wales side, which means that Scott Smith is in third, and that also means that Queensland, providing Tony Rose can maintain the lead and they maintain that position, will pick up 4-2. Not if anything, Mick Poole's got anything to do with it, though. He races through now and takes third, subsequently relegating Scott Smith back to last on the racetrack. Well, this is an interesting one. The yellow flag on display. There's 1 lap to run. It is Tony Rose in front. In second spot, Chris Szauter for New South Wales. Mick Poole in third. So 3 points apiece coming up here in heat number 13. Tony Rose is certainly going to take it. The positions will stay as they are. Szauter will finish second. Mick Poole in third. And at the back of the pack there, Scotty Smith. He'll be disappointed with that. Race time was 55.98 seconds. 55.98 seconds. Replay of the action coming up for you Szauter looked like he might take the race lead there, but Tony Rose gave his bike a handful, riding the Team Titman entry, the best presented Speedway motorcycle team in Australia, certainly in domestic racing, and Rose was not headed from there. Now let's check the score for you. After 13 heats, there's still 2 points in it, 40 to 38 in favour of Queensland. They've really just got to maintain that, and they're home and hosed. We've only a few races to go now. Heat 14 sees Dave Watt representing Queensland in red, Rivett in blue from Queensland, Shane Haggarty in white for the New South Wales side, and Tony Primmer. Well, he's got a big job to do here, Primmer, with the deepest of respect. I don't think Haggerty's quite in the class of Primmer, so he needs to do the job now for New South Wales, or from their point of view anyway, but didn't get the best of starts. Tony Primmer in the yellow-black, looked at him trying hard on the outside. Meantime, your race leader is Dave Watt, and here comes Rivett now to lend some badly needed support. Oh, Primmer makes a mistake. That will enable, obviously, the man on the inside, Rivett, to move up and perhaps consolidate second. That's the way it's worked out. Well, this is looking like a 5-1 for the Queenslanders in this particular event, and that will put this State of Origin match out of the reach of the New South Wales side. You can be rest assured. Your leader here, and doing it in sizzling fashion, is Dave Watt. What a performance by him. He's racing away from them. He receives ample support from the man in second, Alan Rivett, and this will be a 5-1 for Queensland. That's going to make it nigh on impossible for the New South Wales side. They will have an unassailable lead now, the Queenslanders. They're going to need atrocious luck, impossibility in fact, for them to lose from here. As I try to think as quickly as I can to tally the points up for you, across the line comes our winner, Dave Watt. Second will be Alan Rivett. Third, Tony Primmer, in a time of 57.77. So at the completion of 14 heats, it's Queensland 45, New South Wales 39. They can't lose from here, the Banana Benders. You good folks watching on Optus Vision in Queensland, you can start to celebrate now. They're home and hosed, not just in this match, but also the series. As we approach now heat number 15, great performance by Queensland, who came from the back. They trailed by at least 2 points up until heat number 6. They drew level in heat 7, then got to the front in heat 8. It's been a courageous performance by them. Now we're set for a start in the penultimate heat of this State of Origin series, where Collyer rides in red, Watt in blue. They represent Queensland, Szauter in white, and Primmer returns to action riding in yellow here. As they settle down, someone's let a flare off on the infield here at Mike Hatcher Speedway Park. Your leader, wearing blue, is Watt, and what a job he's doing. White runs third. That is Chris Szauter from New South Wales, and Brent Collyer runs third in red. Well, a perfect scenario for the Queensland side. A 4-2 result, providing the riders on the track maintain their current positions. Race leader back straight away is Watt. Gee, he's been impressive in this match, particularly in the second half of the program. He's going to win this one by a country mile, leading by 15, perhaps even 20 metres, as he goes across the strike and sees the yellow flag on display with 1 lap to run. Best of the rest in second spot is Chris Szauter for New South Wales. Brent Collyer maintains third. Well, that's a great performance by Watt, and he's happy about it too. The left leg, or rather the left hand, goes up, probably the left leg as well, and there's a celebratory mono from him. So 3 points to Watt, 2 to Tony Primmer from New South Wales, 1 to Brent Collyer, the Queenslander, in third spot. The time there was 57.95. It's all Queensland. They lead by 49 to 41 at the completion of heat 15. And now the final heat in this final match to determine the State of Origin champions for 1998. Queensland can't lose, I'm here to tell you. So they'll just go through the motions here. And a good field, Tony Rose in red, Rivett in blue, Stephen Davies and Mick Poole representing New South Wales in white and yellow respectively. Now Stephen Davies has been really the standout rider here tonight, it's got to be said. Ridden superbly in a beaten side, a comprehensively beaten side. This Newcastle rider approaching a maximum. If he wins here, undefeated in 5 rides thus far, and he certainly is going to win, the New South Wales rider. Stephen Davies up the main straight. He leads his nearest rival, the Queensland captain Tony Rose in second spot. Mick Poole is third. So New South Wales looking at a 4-2 result here. That being the case, this State of Origin match will finish 51 to 45 in favour of Queensland. Thoroughly deserving victors here tonight. But really, you've got to take a bow to Stephen Davies. He has been absolutely perfect here tonight. a maximum man as he comes out of turn 4. Stephen Davies takes the checkered flag and the 3 points. But Queensland have wrapped up the series by 51 to 45. Rose finished in second, Mick Poole third in a time of 57.65. In the final analysis, though, Queensland far too good here tonight at Mike Hatcher Park.
Well, a great meeting tonight with the eventual winners Queensland running out very strong victors by 51 to 45. Their captain joins me, Tony Rose. Great performance.
Yeah, thanks, David. I'd just like to congratulate the rest of the guys and the New South Wales side. The second string of our team certainly got the points that we needed when it counted, and I think pretty sure that's what basically gave us the win.
You've got to have depth in this kind of competition, and you had that tonight. Yeah,
that's right. Like the younger guys that were put into the side through their performance in the under-21 certainly pulled their weight, which is good to see. Like one or two riders, Clinton Leitch got hurt and he had to pull out. Scott Smith sort of didn't have a very good night, but the rest of the riders, we all hung together and got a win.
Tell me about the track. A very noticeable run downhill as you head down the back straight. Fortuitously, it's a very wide corner, turns 3 and 4. Otherwise, it would be a touch scary.
Yeah, it would be. It can be a touch scary at times too. Fortunately, there's a little bit of banking there, so if you get a good run down the outside of someone, you can do an outside pass, or you can make a dive down the inside. It's just how the track is. The track's good. I think even the New South Wales guys, they like the place. It's probably a shame that we might not get another one here, but I think Dingo wants to come back, and if they do, we'll certainly be happy to have them.
And a track with the future, most importantly.
Yeah, that's right. The club here has done a wonderful job. Like as you'll see on the video, the new stands, new lights put in. The club, all the money that basically is raised from each meeting just goes back into the club, which is good. Keeps the club surviving. The money spent on the track's good. The spectators are happy, they keep coming back, and that's what Speedway's about. Well
done, you can be a proud man tonight, captaining the Queenslanders to a solid victory. Before we leave you on this occasion, joining us here at the Mike Hatcher Park venue is one of the all-time greats of Australian Speedway, 4 times national champion Phil Crump. Thanks for your time. You've just returned from England, and obviously Speedway fans would be well aware of the fact that your son Jason's now doing big things on the world stage, and you were very much a part of his victory in the British Grand Prix. A big thrill for you?
Certainly was, David. That he rode terrific there, and it was good that he could win the meeting. But you know, terrifically hard those meetings, and you know, anybody could win it. You know, even the 16th bloke, 24th bloke, he's in with a chance right until the end.
You must be, obviously, it must be highly beneficial for Jason having someone like you in his corner with obviously the vast experience you've had.
Oh yes, he does most things himself. It's good when I'm there that I can just see some of the things that he may miss, and obviously it might give him a bit of a boost because I've had a lot of experience on those tracks that he's riding at, the Grand Prix. But most of the stuff he handles himself.
How tough is it to compare eras? Your era on the world stage, which obviously brought a World Team Cup victory and a podium place in a World Final. Is it fair to compare an era such as that, 70s, to the current day scene?
Well, it's very difficult to compare different eras, but I suppose it's got to be harder today. There's more blokes at that standard, you know. They've got 24 in the Grand Prix now, where they only had 16 there. So, you know, and there's any one of those 24 that could win the meeting, and it's so cutthroat. You know, in the older days, I suppose you could say you had a chance if you made one bad race, but today that doesn't happen. If you're not first or second, it's curtains.
You just retired from racing in a serious way only a few years ago. How did you manage to stay as good as you were for so long?
I don't know, to be honest.
Talent?
No, I didn't have a lot of that, unfortunately, or not as much as was needed to win the World Championship, but I don't know. I was just very keen to keep going for as long as I could, and I was lucky enough not to get any injuries, I suppose, and that was about it. I didn't do anything different to anybody else, I don't think.
The great Phil Crump, thanks for joining us. Do you want to sign off from tonight's program?
Thanks very much, David.
Good job. Thanks for your company. We'll see you next week on Chequered Flag.